An ancient music box held a demon captive for centuries until the handle was turned once again. Now every note is a death sentence, as Jack will not return to his box until he has claimed the souls of his victims. Casey, an American historian, arrives in the British countryside to take a job as a museum curator. There, he is met by a young woman named Lisa. She shows him the storage room that she is assigned to organize, filled with items not currently on display. Upon seeing a rare book, Casey is thrilled. He offers Lisa his help to ensure no valuable items are accidentally discarded. A conversation sparks between the two, where Casey explains his reasons for coming. He's starting a new chapter in his life and decided to radically change his surroundings. A wooden box catches Casey's eye. It looks like a jack-in-the-box. While examining it, he moves one of the letters, triggering a mechanism. The dial turns to 0. A handle pops out from the side, and the letters spell out a name, Jack. By turning the handle, Casey activates the box and a clown pops out. The young man is convinced this item must be included in the museum's exhibition. Lisa calls their museum expert, David, and asks him to come over to evaluate the find. At night, 2 burglars break into the museum. One of them sees the clown and tries to steal the box. But as soon as he approaches, it slams shut. A few seconds later, it opens again, and a monstrous claw emerges. When the second burglar goes looking for his partner, he stumbles upon something horrific. He backs away and hides under a table, but the creature finds him, piercing his skull with its claw. After this, the dial on the box moves to number 2. Meanwhile, Casey and Lisa spend the evening at a cafe. Lisa talks about herself, admitting she hates antiques and the museum in general, but has to work there to pay for her terminally ill mother's treatment. That night, Casey suffers from insomnia. As soon as he drifts off, a vision from his past resurfaces. His girlfriend trying to call him while a stranger with a knife stalks her. Casey wakes up instantly. This nightmare has haunted him for months. Arriving at work the next morning, Casey finds signs of an intruder. He calls Lisa to tell her what happened, but their conversation is interrupted by David's arrival. Casey leads the man to the box. David confirms the item's authenticity, explaining its Victorian origins. He mentions records suggesting such boxes were invented to imprison dark entities. David shares the legend behind the unusual object. Their design focused on looking harmless, so people would be tempted to open them. These items spread across northern France, fueled by the fear of Satan. They were considered tools of vengeance for the deaths of hundreds accused of consorting with dark forces. For more details, David recommends contacting a local mythology expert, Maurice Ainsworth. During the day, exhausted by insomnia, Casey dozes off right in the exhibition hall. He is awakened by a visitor named Gwen. She asks for the War History Gallery, and declining an escort, heads in that direction. While looking at the exhibits, she ignores the strange sounds. Suddenly, the lights go out, and seconds later, a bloodthirsty clown attacks her. He slits her throat with a claw and drags her into his box. Hearing a noise, Casey goes up to the War Gallery. Finding nothing suspicious, he returns to his work. The next morning, on his way to the museum, Casey sees missing persons posters. Besides the 2 burglars, he sees Gwen's photo. Remembering her visit and mysterious disappearance, Casey searches for information on Maurice online. On the man's website, he finds info about a demon in a box. It states that the demon emerges in the form of a hideous clown, seeking 6 victims. Only then can the demon be locked back inside. Casey is interrupted by Rachel, the museum manager. She tells him she's allocated a spot for the box among the toys. After moving the box to its new location, Casey finishes his shift and goes home. Mandy, the cleaning lady, stays in the building. While wiping the display cases, she notices the box has disappeared again. She finds it at the base of the stairs. Doors suddenly slam shut, preventing her escape. The demon emerges and takes its next victim. The dial moves to number 4. Coming to work after the weekend, Lisa finds Casey sitting on the stairs. He's listening to a voicemail his girlfriend left him before she was killed. Seeing Lisa, he feels embarrassed but shares his pain. That night, he was asleep and simply declined the call. Now he blames himself for her death and can't sleep properly. They are interrupted by Detective Martin, who is investigating Mandy's disappearance. During the interview, Casey considers mentioning the strange box, but realizing the detective won't believe in such things, he stays quiet. Later, Casey calls Maurice Ainsworth's office. After leaving a message, he heads to the box and sets up a camera in front of it. Then he steps out to call a friend in America. Returning to the room, Casey sees the box is gone. The lights fail, and he uses a flashlight to see. Suddenly, a massive clown appears before him. It strikes Casey and vanishes. After grabbing the camera, he rushes to Lisa to show her the footage, but the screen shows only static and then darkness. Lisa begs him to go to the hospital, but Casey, obsessed, shares his theories about the disappearances. Lisa is convinced he's hallucinating from sleep deprivation. Frustrated, Casey leaves. He spots a slip of paper that was stuck to the box when he first found it. It lists the address from where it was sent. Searching the data, Casey finds information about a missing woman. The police suspected her husband killed her. Casey drives to the address. Mr. Cleaver, the husband, initially tells the uninvited guest to go to hell, but upon hearing about the box, he lets him in. The man tells how he found the box in a field with a metal detector and saw with his own eyes how something terrifying dragged his wife inside. He was eventually convicted of murder and served 10 years. Cleaver advises Casey to leave immediately because sooner or later, the police will connect the disappearances and blame him. Getting into his car, Casey sees a vision of his late fiancée. She reproaches him for his cowardice, so he heads back to the museum. There, he takes the box outside, pours gasoline on it, and sets it on fire. Returning to the building, he sees the box sitting there again. The clown emerges and moves toward the young man. Casey tries to hide, but the bloodthirsty monster catches him, lifts him off the floor, and then lets him go. Casey doesn't understand why the demon spared his life for a second time. The next morning, Rachel calls Casey into her office and tells him he's fired. She believes he's having a breakdown because he blames a wooden box for the disappearances. Before leaving, Casey begs Lisa not to go near the box, but she doesn't believe in the object's demonic powers. Disappointed, Casey gets Maurice's address and drives to see him. There, a rather unwelcoming man eventually agrees to see him. He explains that the demon cannot kill the person who opened the box. To trap Jack back inside, Casey must perform a ritual. Maurice explains the spell and emphasizes that during the ritual, not a single part of the demon must remain outside the box. Meanwhile, Jack takes his next victim, Rachel. The box drags her inside like a meat grinder, tearing her to pieces. Returning from lunch, Lisa sees bloodstains and runs for the exit. But the door slams in her face and the demon slowly crawls out of the box. He approaches her and stabs her in the stomach. Just as Jack is about to finish her off, he hears Casey's voice. The clown attacks from around a corner and knocks Casey out, then returns to his wounded victim. But Casey regains consciousness and crawls toward Lisa's screams with his last bit of strength. He plunges a knife into the demon's back and recites the spell. The box pulls Jack inside and slams shut. Before falling into the clown's clutches, Lisa managed to call the police. Seeing the wounded, unconscious Lisa, the detective immediately orders Casey's arrest. A few days later, Lisa visits Morris at his request. She begs him to help get Casey out of jail because the police refuse to believe her version of events. The man is certain it's impossible. The authorities need a flesh and blood person to charge. Maurice asks Lisa to finish what Casey started to stop Jack's curse. The box must remain unopened for 15 years. The exact amount of time the demon extended its life by taking 5 victims. Lisa takes the box to a field and buries it in the ground. Meanwhile, during his interrogation, Casey sees a demon's claw in a crime scene photo. He screams that Lisa needs to be saved immediately, but he is silently led away to a cell. At that moment, Lisa herself is dragged into the box, because Jack always comes back for his victims if the ritual was incomplete. Now the box waits for a new owner, and that is where the movie ends.